Welcome back to another episode on Across the Board. Today, we've got crazy madness across the country in college baseball. We're going to recap this last week of college baseball, really dive into the SEC in particular after a crazy week there, and then another field of 64 projection, plus the last four in, first four out, and on the bubble, some more teams. We're going to get into all that today. So thank you for joining us. But before we do, please go like and follow, subscribe to our accounts on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, Amazon Music. We post twice a week, sometimes more when we're able to. So thank you for joining tonight, and let's go ahead and hop right into it. So I do want to start in the SEC before I go all over the place. But I do want to start in the SEC because we had a crazy week. Ole Miss sweeps LSU. Florida takes 2 of 3 from Georgia. Tennessee sweeps Mississippi State. Arkansas sweeps Alabama. And then Texas A&M sweeps Texas, which they only played 2 games due to weather. But 3 big series there. And we're going to kind of go around and kind of talk about those and kind of the impacts they have. But we'll start with LSU Ole Miss. You kind of look at the series and LSU, a team on the bubble, Ole Miss, a team who has been solid, kind of had their struggles offensively. And not only did Ole Miss get a big win, not only did they win the series, they get a sweep. Hunter Elliott looked good, as he has been. He's been their most consistent pitcher. Taylor Rabe started on game 3 on Sunday. He looked good in his start. And Kane Townsend as well. He was solid in his start. The pitching was good this weekend from Ole Miss. I think the big thing, though, was the jump in the bats. I thought they hit the ball really well. You have Caden Pano, who I thought played outstanding for this squad. He had a big week considering where he was in that lineup and kind of him finding his role there. Will Furnace, big piece to this Ole Miss team. But, you look at Ole Miss, 25th in rankings. They actually stayed there this week, kind of surprisingly. But they handle business. And you look at LSU's side of things, and it's just more desperation. Right now, we're going to kind of dive into them in the rankings. I won't say anything yet, but they are a team that's been on the bubble. And just a lot of concerns, Game 1, they tied it up, kind of had a chance to win, I thought. Gave up 3 in the bottom of the 8th. And Ole Miss, when it goes on in the game 6-3. Game 2, you get the lead 2-0, and then after that, it's all Ole Miss from there. Struggles there. And then game 3, you go down 7-0 early, you're tied the game back up 7-7, had a great inning, but then you're not able to close out there. But for LSU, they're in desperation mode right now. You've got Texas A&M this weekend at home. That's just a big series. You got one series at a time. You have Georgia, Mississippi State, South Carolina, Florida still left on your schedule. You've got to handle business, and you've got to find ways to win those series. But I do look at Ole Miss. I think there's a lot of upside if they get the bats going. I mean, they're batting 238 in team in conference play, which isn't everything, obviously, but that's just number there. 4.77 team ERA. I think, they're getting good pitching, but if their bats can get rolling, I think this team can be lethal in the SEC. I want to hop to Florida, Georgia now, though. I think this is one of those series again where what were we going to expect? Florida, outstanding. Aiden King, he has made himself the Friday starter. He went 7 and 2/3 innings pitched. He gave 2 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, 6 Ks. He looked great in this series. Joey Volchko even looked good. 6 innings pitched, 2 hits, 1 run, 2 walks, 7 Ks. The bullpen kind of behind him had a rough weekend. I thought the bullpen for Georgia kind of struggled in this game and really in this series. Not really what we were expecting from them. Liam Peterson, I want to shout out in game 2. 7 innings pitched, 8 hits, 1 run, 8 Ks. But the big number for me, I look, is the 0 walks. No base on balls. He had a clean game at the mound, not giving anything, no free passes with the walks. We kind of talked about it in the last few episodes about Florida, just Liam Peterson not getting the swing and miss much and not really many guys chasing. and he's forced a lot. He's given up a lot of base on balls, but I think he's kind of starting to find his zone. And what a huge weekend there for him as well. Dylan Veig, 6 innings pitched, 2 hits, 1 run, 3 walks, 7 Ks. I mean, he looks good as well. The Florida bullpen kind of collapsed in the eighth in the second game in game two. But Dylan Veig and Joey Volchko have kind of been those guys. You're kind of your Friday, Saturday starters that have been kind of consistent, I would say. But the bats kind of went, I don't want to say cold for Georgia, but they definitely, it felt like they kind of went cold this weekend. You know, you look at what they've been able to do. They're a fire powerhouse of an offense, and we've kind of even harped on their bullpen being good. But I feel like their bullpen has really struggled, really struggled this weekend, and the bats struggled this weekend as well, I would say. And it was definitely interesting to see. But Florida's kind of put themselves up there and the conversation right now as being a great team. I mean, you look at what they've been able to do this year, they're good. I've talked about the run production plenty of times. I feel like they haven't been able to produce runs. This weekend they did that. They got good pitching. And for Florida, there's a lot of upside. Again, you got Aiden King, Liam Peterson. You're 1-2. I mean, that's huge. With those two guys being on pace, if you can get good bullpen work, which I feel like you have been, obviously game two in the eighth. But for them, I think there is a lot of upside and a lot of talent for this team. And we'll also talk about them later in their national seed. But again, a lot of upside for Florida. Georgia, again, competitive series. Georgia's still got work to do, but they are a really good team still. But now we'll jump to Tennessee, Mississippi State. I want to go there next because desperation is the word Tennessee was facing. Desperate. You're going to this weekend, you're going to Starkville. That's a brutal look. Not only do you win the series, you sweep Mississippi State, and Mississippi State has lost 6 in a row in conference play. At home. You get swept by Georgia, you get swept by Tennessee. It's interesting. Georgia, Georgia was a good team, so it was like, okay, like going to Tennessee, maybe, you're at home, you got Tennessee, maybe you kind of get that bounce back. Nope. Landon Mack and Cam Appenzeller, excuse me, they pitched well game one. Tegan Coons dealt in game two. Evan Blanco in game three, he dealt. I mean, Tennessee this weekend played with desperation. They got runs across the plate, big time moments, big hits and big moments, but they got the pitching, which isn't a surprise though. I mean, Landon Mack, but seeing Cam Appenzeller do what he was able to do this weekend, I think shed some light more on what this Tennessee team has. Again, they're a very talented group. You got Brandon Arvinson, who even came in and closed and played well. The pitching is there. The run production is something that's got to get up, but they did that this weekend. They got it. They got what they needed, and they got a big win in Starkville. Mississippi State, obviously, no McPherson, which kind of hurts that starting group, but you still have Duke Stone and Tomas Valenkus. So there's still talent there. It is a little concerning, though, that they did lose 6 in a row. We will talk about them later. But a lot of concern there after losing 6 straight at home. It's not a good look. And it just kind of shows what the SEC's been this year, man. But for Tennessee, big win for Josh Elander in the group. Huge win there. But now I want to head out to Tuscaloosa, Arkansas. Wow. Just wow. This team was just lifeless, still ranked. They were still a ranked team, but I wasn't seeing any potential. I wasn't seeing anything. Nothing was jumping out. But you go and get a big series win at Tuscaloosa. Hunter Dietz pitched well. Gabe Gaggle came out the bullpen a couple times and pitched for Arkansas. But you look at how they played, they got runs across the plate. 15 plated 15 in game two. and they got pitching. They looked good. They really did. They did the things necessary to get a series win. We've kind of talked about them needing that jump. They got it, and they did what they needed to do, man. They looked good, looked better in this series. Again, they were kind of floating lifeless, but then you get a big series win, and that boosts you up. I will shout out for Alabama Miles Upchurch, a guy, kind of talk about their day three. Kind of, you have, Tyler Fay and Zane Adams solidified your Friday, Saturday starter, but needing that Sunday guy, Miles Upchurch, he performed well. 6 innings pitched, 4 hits, 2 runs, 1 walk, 6 Ks. He pitched well in game three, but they still lost the game. But Arkansas was desperate. Another team I felt like was desperate. And they got a huge win, a ginormous win for them in that program. And they are on a roll. And it feels like they're kind of back on their feet. And we'll see how they do this weekend. They do play Georgia, so that'll be interesting to see how they go there. But it's our final matchup in the SEC. You have Texas and Texas A&M. A&M looked good, man. Their bats are elite. They're batting 288 in conference play, which again, batting average, not everything, but they're plating runs. You scored 20 runs this weekend. You allowed 12. This team's elite. Get Caden Sorrell, guys who have been the guy who has been amazing for him. Gavin Grahavik, he looks good. Nico Petita, he looks good. This team is so talented at the plate. One thing you talk about with them is their pitching. If they can have average pitching, just average, they're playing like they're an Omaha team, man. I mean, they have a conversation to be an Omaha team. They looked good. They played outstanding. They hit the ball. They put runs across the plate. They did all the things necessary, man, to beat a good Texas team. And Texas now, you lose 2 here. You lost 3 of your last 5. Ruger Riojas has kind of had his moments the past couple of weeks, I would say. But, you know, on A&M side of things, I thought they played well. They looked good, and you got guys hitting well at the plate. And they've been an elite group this year, man. They have done all the things necessary to be that elite group, and they've kind of stood out in how they've played in the SEC right now. But right now, man, I mean, they're uprising. They're on the uprise in the SEC. You're getting big wins. You got big bats, and you go to Alex Fox Stadium this weekend, where LSU is another desperate team looking for a big win. So that was a great series there. And that wraps up the SEC. We'll go to 3 more series. We'll go in the Big Ten, actually. And we'll start with Nebraska, Oregon. Oregon took 2 of 3, excuse me, this series, and they looked good. There was a lot more positive there. They got runs across the plate. I kind of talk about their run production of late. They got runs across the plate. Got really chippy in the series. We had a bench clear. I noticed all Oregon's bench clear. I wasn't sure about Nebraska, but Oregon bench cleared in this game. And man, it was intense. A lot of big moments, a big rivalry series, it kind of felt like. It felt really intense. But Oregon, I felt really good after this weekend about them. Will Sanford looked good. And I kind of talk about them needing to get runs across the plate. That was one thing I'd stress. And I was a little concerned. You got to put runs and plate runs. And they had to this weekend, and they did that. I will say Tanner Bradley and Tanner Ball, actually, I thought closed very well for Oregon. I thought they did well out of the bullpen. And you just look at this group, and they got runs across the plate. The plate production was there, and you just got a sense of positives. You felt really positive coming out of this weekend about how they've been. So, and even on the Nebraska side, You kind of look over there, I still feel good about Nebraska. For a good team, it was a very competitive series. There wasn't really blowouts to me that was like, oh, like every game was good. It was a very competitive series, and you love to see that. So for me, no concern for either of these teams coming out of this. I mean, I think this was a very competitive series. I thought they all showed up and performed the way that they needed to this weekend. We'll go to the two sweeps. We'll start in the Big 12, UCF and Kansas. I got the pleasure of watching the series. Two teams atop the Big 12, and Kansas took care of business. I mean, Dominic Vogel pitched well. He went 7 innings with 5 hits, 3 runs, 1 walk, 10 Ks. Thought the whole Kansas pitching staff game one was good. They went 11 innings, give up 7 hits, 3 runs, 5 walks, 8 Ks. Yeah, Mason Cook went 6 innings with 3 hits, 1 run, 3 walks, 6 Ks. But I watched Kansas this weekend, man, and they're a group. They're a very good group. We're going to talk about them in the Phil 64 as well. But getting to watch them this weekend was huge, and getting to see what they had. Their pitching has struggled. I would say the pitching's not the most upside, but watching after this weekend, I was very encouraged with how that group looked. I felt really positive about this team. And right now, the Big 12 is just such a weird conference. You have Arizona State, who's a competitor, UCF, West Virginia, Kansas State, TCU, if they can get healthy. It's very interesting watching this group, and even Oklahoma State, BYU, and the list goes on. But watching Kansas so we can get the sweep, the sky's the limit. They're an amazing group. And what they've been able to do as a team, they've got the bats. The big thing for me was the pitching. The pitching, good. That was kind of a struggle, the consistency there, and they had it this weekend. I was really positive about this group. I felt great coming out of this weekend about Kansas. So that was a huge series there for Kansas. And so we'll now jump to FSU and Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech, man, continues to shine. But I want to really put emphasis on the pitching group and the staff. I mean, it looked good, man. This weekend, now make sure I have the math right here. They gave up 9 runs total, if I have that number right. Let's see. No, let's see. Make sure I have this number right. I mean, they gave up 9 runs this weekend. They put up a lot. They are a good team, man. The bats continue to grow and shine. Vaughn Lackey and this whole group. And then Carson Kears had a fantastic weekend. But you have to be encouraged by the pitching. And this just makes it even more scarier. I mean, if Georgia Tech's pitching is going to be like this, what's going to stop them? I mean, UCLA, they're a good team, but I look at Georgia Tech right now and I just have to ask, what's stopping them? They're a freight train in the ACC, man. They are running through that conference. And they have been good. And it's not even like they're bad, that the conference is bad. It's just Georgia Tech is good. I mean, they're batting 359. I mean, they're putting a tons of runs across the plate. And they have a 4.11 team ERA. I mean, the pitching is getting better. If the pitching is keeps getting better, I mean, I don't know what's stopping them, man. They're playing one of the best teams in the country right now, and there's no denying that whatsoever. They're an absolutely elite team and huge to see them performing as well as they are. So that's a huge series there. A couple of notable ones. Liberty takes 2 of 3 from Jacksonville State. That's a huge series there. Louisiana took 2 from Southern Miss. That was a big one. So a lot of great series there. Arizona took a series over TCU, which does not look good on TCU's resume. So we'll talk about them here shortly. But that's going to recap the college baseball this past week. And now it's time to go to the stress meter. Jaden presented me with this one. And Jaden, unfortunately, just got done with a golf tournament. So he will be back next episode. But obviously, not here. He did give me a stress meter, though. So we will go through that. And so we'll start at Mississippi State. They've lost 6 straight. In that stretch, they've scored 3.7 runs per game. They allowed 6.7 runs per game. They're batting 266 in conference right now, 4.9 TRA. No Ryan McPherson. So, as a team that going into a Field 64 postseason hosting, right now they are not hosting, projected to host, which is a little concerning. But it's definitely a little concerning not having your ace, Ryan McPherson, there. That's not one of the best things that you want. That kind of hurts your pitching rotation. The bats kind of went cold this weekend, man. But I'm not ready to press the panic button yet. I'm going to say it a 3. Mississippi State is still a good team. Yes, they struggled the last 2 series, but Georgia's good. They're a good squad. And Tennessee was just desperate. So I don't know what to think of them right now. I don't want to panic yet. So we'll kind of see what happens there because it's just one of those things. I feel like it's a little too early to panic. So I don't want to panic yet. So we'll see what goes on there. Next, LSU swept by Ole Miss. 8.7 runs allowed per game, 4 runs scored per game. You're batting 260 as a team, 5.94 ERA in conference. And they have tough weekends ahead. As an LSU fan, I'm at about a 9. Like I'm ready to panic almost. Because you just have to look at what it's been the past few weekends. You dig into everything and you look at it and all that's happened, and there's not much positive. There really isn't. I mean, you got swept. You were competitive. Game 3, you had a late push, and even game 1, but you didn't come away with the win. The only thing giving me hope is that they are LSU. Jay Johnson is a great coach who can get this turned around. But right now, Taysom Evans, William Schmidt, hopefully Cooper Moore comes back soon. If you can get those guys rolling and then at the plate, get runs production going up, I think LSU will be back in business. But you have a big series at A&M this weekend. If you win that one, you got to feel good. But it's tough. And right now, they're projected the last 4 in. You're barely in right now. You got to get yourself up there. So getting a series win Texas A&M should kind of keep you off that bubble. You don't want to be there. You want to be in the mix. So we'll see kind of that goes from there. But I'm gonna say I'm at a 9 for LSU. I'm ready to panic. The next is Texas. They've lost 3 of their last 5 in conference. Struggle to put up runs. They got 4.4 runs per game. They're in that stretch. 6.6 runs allowed per game. They're 8th in runs per game in conference. But they're second in runs allowed per game. They're not allowing too many runs. I'm not that concerned, man. I'm gonna give them like a 2. They're still a good team, man. They're gonna host. And the SEC is just the SEC, man. Like each week is competitive. They've still got the overall group, man. They're gonna be good. They've got the pitching, they got the hitting. Aiden Robbins was absolutely elite this weekend. So I'm at a 2. There's nothing to be concerned about with Texas, man. They're gonna be a great team. They're gonna host still. They are an elite school. They have struggled, but I'm not concerned at all. Next is Southern Miss. You lose series to Louisiana this weekend. You're 8-7 in conference, and it's not what you're hoping for, but For me, it's so hard to be concerned about this team. Obviously, your hosting chances are kind of slowly fading now after that loss. Reason I can't be concerned is the Sun Belt has been solid this year, man. UL has high potential. We've seen they were ranked earlier in the season. Their potential is up there. Texas State's been good in conference. South Alabama's a solid team in that conference. Coastal Carolina and Southern Miss and even more teams. They're been a competitive conference. It's so tough for me to kind of be concerned about them when they are a good team still, and the conference has been as good as it is. For hosting chances, if I was stressing about hosting, I'd be at about a 7 just because you've only got so much opportunity left to boost the RPI and kind of get back up in the rankings. But as a team, they're still good. I'm gonna give them a 3. I'm just not that concerned. They're still too good of a team. And the conference is so competitive in the Sun Belt this year. There's a lot of good teams that it's hard to be very concerned about that group at all. Now you move to Clemson, 5-10 in conference play, lost series UNC, and they just had struggles winning games. And right now, the projected first 4 out. Yeah, I'm panicking. I'm at a 9. Like, yes, you're still Clemson, but you're now not in the tournament. You got Virginia this week, and that's a big RPI boost. You've got to win. Until they get themselves comfortably in, you're stressed. It's the same in LSU situation. They're a good team who can win games, but they haven't done it. You're 5-10 in conference right now, and you got a big series against Virginia. Either you get yourself in or you fall farther down that ladder, and you're going to have to win the ACC. You're almost at the bottom with Cal. I'm very concerned with this team right now, and so finding ways to win series games has been a struggle. Just winning series has been a struggle. I'm at a 9. They've got to get themselves comfortably in. They're in the first 4 out, and it's a major concern right now in Clemson. Now, finally, if Alabama on here, I mean, I'm at a 2 maybe for Alabama. I'm not concerned. Like, yes, you got swept at home, so that's not a great look. But I also think Arkansas is so desperate for a win this weekend. I thought Alabama game 3 was competitive, and yeah, it didn't look great in game 2, but realistically, Alabama's going to be fine. They're going to be a good team. I believe they'll still host as well as they're playing. But Arkansas was just desperate, and they got a huge win. And Arkansas is a good team. We know their potential. We know what they have there. So I'm not concerned. I'm at a 2 for Alabama. Well, that being said, that's going to do it for our stress meter. Now we will go into our field of 64 before our schedule of the week because we need to talk about the schedule or the bubble and kind of the whole field before we do get into the main schedule. So we will start with the field of 64. Now, we're going to try and go in order. However, the way this is set up, it is very weird. And this is presented by D1 Baseball. D1 Baseball comes out with these rankings. And the way this is set up on each page, it's 1, 2, then 16, then 15, 16. So it'll be like 3, 4, 13, 14. So I'm going to try and go in order, but I won't be able to. But we'll start with the LA regional, UCLA, the number 1 national seed with Liberty, Gonzaga, and FDU. And the 2 national seed, you have Georgia Tech with number 2 Tennessee, number 3 Jacksonville State, number 4 Rider. That's interesting regional. Then at 15, you have the LA regional with USC. You got Ole Miss at number 2, number 3 Cal Baptist, number 4 Wright State. That's a very interesting regional as well. Again, these are only projections, so none of these are set in stone. Then they have the Lawrence regional, number 16 national seed Kansas, with Mississippi State at number 2, number 3 NC State, number 4 Oral Roberts. Yes, Kansas is projected to host after this weekend. We'll see if they can continue to build that resume, though. But that is interesting to keep an eye on. Now we'll go to number 3 national seed. You have Texas and the Austin Regional with number 2 Wake Forest, number 3 Texas State, number 4 New Mexico. Wake Forest being in that region will be quite interesting. Even Texas State, because Texas State's been a really good solid school in the Sun Belt. And the Auburn Regional, number 14 national seed Auburn. As you back up. Number 4 nationally, we're going to go to Gainesville. So number 4 national seed, Florida. With Boston College, number 3 Arizona State, number 4 Yale. That would be an interesting regional. I would honestly love to see that regional if that were to occur. Now, we'll go to the Morgantown Regional. Number 13 national seed West Virginia. With number 2 Oklahoma, number 3 Kent State, number 4 Connecticut. That would be an interesting regional too. I would 100% watch that one. That would be a fun regional. Then number 14 national seed, Southern Miss. Or excuse me, Auburn, number 14 national seed in the Auburn Regional. You have Southern Miss, number 2, number 3 TCU, number 4 St. Joseph's. St. Joseph's have been good in the A10, man. They've been a great school. Then, and the Athens Regional, number 5 Georgia. At number 2, UC Santa Barbara. Number 3, East Carolina. Number 4, Bethune-Cookman. That'd be a fun regional with UC Santa Barbara and East Carolina. 6 national seed, North Carolina and Chapel Hill Regional. Number 2, Nebraska. Number 3, Campbell. Number 4, Binghamton. And the 11th national seed, Virginia and the Charlottesville Regional. Got number 2, Oregon. Number 3, High Point. Number 4, Bucknell. That would be an interesting regional. I would definitely watch that one. In the Tuscaloosa Regional, number 12 national seed, Alabama. With number 2, UCF, number 3, Purdue, number 4, Indiana State. Then, on your final page, we have the number 7 national seed, Oregon State, with number 2, UTSA, number 3, Kentucky, number 4, Eastern Illinois. This would be an interesting series, or interesting regional if you have Oregon State and UTSA face off with elite pitching and elite hitting. That'd be a fun one to watch. Then the Conway Regional, number 8 national seed, Coastal Carolina. With number 2, Missouri State, number 3, LSU, number 4, Wofford. Number 9, national seed, Texas A&M. Number 2, you have Miami. Number 3, Kansas State. Number 4, Southeast Louisiana. Then number 10, national seed, Florida State. With number 2 being Arkansas. Number 3, Cincinnati. Number 4, North Florida. So in order for the run, you have your number 1 national seed, UCLA, with Liberty, Gonzaga, and FDU at 2, 3, and 4. Then you have the Atlanta Regional at Georgia Tech, the 2 national seed Georgia Tech, with Tennessee, Jacksonville State, and Rider at 2, 3, and 4. Then you have Texas, number 3 national seed, with Wake Forest, Texas State, and New Mexico being 2, 3, and 4. Then the Gainesville Regional, with Florida being number 4 national seed, with Boston College, Arizona State, and Yale being 2, 3, and 4. Then at 5, you have the Athens Regional with Georgia being number 5 national seed, with UC Santa Barbara, East Carolina, and Bethune-Cookman at 2, 3, and 4. Number 6 national seed, North Carolina at the Chapel Hill Regional, with Nebraska, Campbell, and Binghamton at 2, 3, and 4. Then Oregon State and number 7 national seed, the Corvallis Regional, with UTSA, Kentucky, and Eastern Illinois at 2, 3, and 4. Then the Conway Regional at number 8 national seed, Coastal Carolina, with Missouri State, LSU, and Wofford at 2, 3, and 4. Then the College Station Regional with Texas A&M at the number 9 national seed, with Miami, Kansas State, Southeast Louisiana at 2, 3, and 4. Then the Tallahassee Regional with FSU being number 10 national seed, with Arkansas, Cincinnati, and North Florida at being 2, 3, and 4. Number 11, you have Virginia, the national seed in the Charlottesville Regional, with Oregon, High Point, Bucknell at 2, 3, and 4. Tuscaloosa Regional with Alabama, number 12 national seed, with UCF, Purdue, Indiana State at being 2, 3, and 4. Then the Morgantown Regional, number 13 national seed, West Virginia, with Oklahoma, Kent State, Connecticut, 2, 3, and 4. And the Auburn Regional, number 14 national seed, with Southern Miss, TCU, St. Joseph's at 2, 3, and 4. Then number 15 national seed USC, the Los Angeles Regional, with Ole Miss, CBU, and Wright State at 2, 3, and 4. And number 16 national seed, the Lawrence Regional, Kansas, with Mississippi State, NC State, and Oral Roberts at 2, 3, and 4. So that wraps up the field as it is right now. Now, we're going to go to bubble teams. For your last four in, you have LSU, TCU, Purdue, Kansas State. Those are your last four in. What's your first four out? Oklahoma State, Clemson, Baylor, UAB. Then the four to watch: Louisiana, Michigan, BYU, and Troy. So that's your bracketology. I think the most important thing is definitely the bubble teams. LSU this weekend with A&M, you're desperate. And all these other teams are desperate. Oklahoma State, Clemson, Baylor, UAB, desperate teams looking out of that bubble. Louisiana, Michigan, BYU, Troy, teams looking to get up and jump into that ranking and jump into a possible spot. So that is the field of 64 as it goes throughout the week. We will keep up and keep updates with those as we go along. But now we're going to go to our schedule. What you'll notice week in and week out when we do this, every team on the bubble, they will appear on a schedule for the week no matter who they're playing. They will always appear because those are important games to see if they're able to move up and have a chance to get into the field of 64. So now we'll go to the main schedule. Clemson, Virginia. Big weekend for Clemson. Auburn, Florida. Georgia, Arkansas. Arizona State, BYU. BYU on the four to watch. Michigan, Northwestern. Michigan on the four to watch. Georgia Tech, North Carolina. Cincinnati, UCF. Ole Miss, Tennessee. UAB, USF. UAB on the first four out. LSU, Texas A&M. LSU, last four in. Kansas, Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State, part of the first four out. Texas State and Southern Miss. Louisiana, Troy. UL and Troy are the four to watch. That could be a very big series there. Alabama, Texas. TCU, Baylor. TCU last four in, Baylor first four out. Humongous series for those two teams on the bubble. NC State, Wake Forest. UC Santa Barbara, UC Irvine. Kansas State, Arizona. Kansas State, part of the last four in. Cal Poly, UC San Diego. UCLA, Minnesota. Purdue, Ohio State. Purdue, part of the last four in. ECU, Wichita State. North Alabama, Lipscomb. UConn, St. John's. USC, Nebraska. You have Kent State, Ball State. Toledo versus Miami, Ohio. New Mexico and Nevada. Eastern Illinois and Little Rock. Northwestern State, Lamar. Gonzaga versus St. Mary. And CBU and Tarleton State. So that's your main schedule for the week on what to go watch. Go check out all those games. And that's your bubble on what you need to watch. Those are huge games for those two teams. All these teams on the bubble, every game is humongous for them going in. Oklahoma State, Clemson, Baylor, UAB, Louisiana, BYU, Troy, LSU, TCU, Purdue, Kansas State, all 12 teams looking to boost in their rankings. And now with Baylor and TCU playing this weekend, that's a humongous series in the Big 12 to see which team can jump up and get into that field of 64. But with that being said, that will wrap up today's show. Thank you for watching. Go follow us on our socials at TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify Music, and Amazon Music. Like, follow, share, subscribe, comment. So all the above. Thank you for watching, and we hope to see you on the next episode.